Hello and welcome to Whatever the Weather. Listener, you join us on Tuesday, the 4th of February, following Arsenal's emphatic 5-1 victory over Manchester City at the Emirates. An absolutely wonderful victory, which I'm sure me and Keith
Hello.
are going to reflect on. I'm sure we're also going to touch on the lack of transfers in the last 36 hours.
Don't get me started.
Well, it's an interesting discussion, but yeah, I'm sure we'll come to that. Keith,
Yo,
we beat Man City 5-1 at the Emirates.
I know what a lovely feeling that was on Monday morning when I woke up. I was thinking, oh, we beat Man City 5-1 yesterday. How fantastic. I mean, to have years and years of getting battered by them. I mean, until like the last 2 years, they were a proper nemesis, weren't they? We just used to get
Mm,
battered by them every time we played them. Like it was 3-0, 5-0, 2-0. I mean,
mm.
I don't think we even drew them for years. It was just ridiculous, wasn't it? We didn't. And
Didn't really
then
get anything out of it. Can I
no,
can I ask you, going into this game, um, I didn't feel the same sense of trepidation about playing Man City that I have in the last sort of couple of seasons.
I
Um,
was,
it it
yeah,
did feel like we were gonna get a result from it, and
yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, beforehand, I thought when I saw the teams line up, I thought we can win this game. Definitely, we can definitely win this game. But it's still City, isn't it? I mean, they've still got Haaland,
Mm.
they've still got De Bruyne on the bench. They're still a fantastic team. They just when they turn it on, which they haven't done that much this season, they're still fantastic. But I mean, I did think we would. I did think we were favourites going into the game on Sunday. I thought we can definitely win this one.
Mm.
I just thought depends on how quickly we start. So you could just see City starting well, and getting a first minute goal, or something like that. But thankfully, that's what we did. So
Well, that's what I was about to
yeah,
say. So if we start the game well, then we'll get a goal within 2 minutes,
yeah.
and what a goal!
Yeah, because City have always been, until this season, City have always been super fast starting the game. City would always get the ball, pass around for the ages, and try and score a goal within 10 minutes. I mean, they did that
Mm.
against us for years and years.
Hmm.
But for us to do that, this time round was fantastic. It was just a great goal. I mean, obviously, people say Havertz. I mean, that's all.
We'll come back.
Yeah,
We'll come back to Kai Havertz, Keith. We
yeah.
certainly
But
will. I got to say there was the build up to that goal. I was watching at my wife's house, and I don't think she's ever seen me that kind of that kind of riotous and happy over an Arsenal over the series of Arsenal goals. Um, it was a wonderful piece of build-up play, and it was wonderful to see Odegaard get a
yeah,
goal because
he needs that. He
he's
needs
had a
it. He's got one
bit of a
goal a
drought.
season, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
So to see him get the goal, I mean, he got a little bit lucky because he when he shoots, he does take a little flick off stones, so he could have gone
Mm,
anywhere. But thankfully, he went in.
yeah.
And that was just a fantastic, just what Odegaard needs. Just what Havertz needs after quite a few games.
Mm.
So yeah, very happy with it. It was a great pressing goal, and just shows that City that midfield needs a lot of work, and they're going to need to sign a lot of players, I think.
Mm.
Um, but talking about us, it was just a great start. Exactly
Yeah, why
what
are you talking about City, Keith?
I know,
Who
but
cares?
exactly what touche. But it just shows what this team under Arteta, when it's at its best, can do. He can put teams under pressure, and he can get goals like that. So it was a great start. And obviously, a minute or two later, we almost we thought we scored again through Martinelli, but it was obviously offside.
Hmm.
But it was very close, very close. So
Yeah, it
it
was
was
quite.
offside, definitely offside.
Oh no, it was 100% offside, but
But it
yeah,
just
yeah.
that just was a great. I just thought that was fantastic because it me. Sometimes this season we've got a goal and we haven't pushed forward.
Hmm.
We almost did that again. To be honest, after most of the first half, we didn't really go for it too much. But yeah, could have been 2-0 up. We won 2-0 up, but yeah, first 20 minutes. and then City came back into it after that, and they got a bit more of the ball after that, I thought, in the first
Mm.
half.
Yeah, I
Not
think.
creating too much.
Well, I mean, they didn't really create anything,
Yeah,
and I think that speaks to just speaks to the solidity of our defense.
yeah,
I've said this before and I've been mocked for it, and I'll stand by it that this team under Arteta is a weird mixture between, very stoical kind of George Graham defending and sort of creative
yeah.
Arsene Wenger attacking. In an ideal world, of course,
The
but
problem, I mean, the problem
and
this
I,
season, yeah, the problem this
mm,
season has been scoring goals. I mean, it's
mm,
not nothing wrong with our defensive play. I think we've conceded 22, Liverpool have
mm,
conceded 21. But the
mm,
difference is they've scored more, about 10, 12 more goals than us, and that's the difference, really. So, yeah,
yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's put a pin in that. We'll come back to the title race a little bit
yeah, of course,
later.
yeah.
So
Is there a title
obviously.
race? That's the question, isn't it? Is there one?
I
But we
mean,
can talk about that in a bit.
I'm gonna say that there is. I'm gonna say that
Well,
there is.
you're super
Uh,
optimistic, so
I
you would say
normally
that.
am, yeah. But yeah, I always am. We let Haaland get a goal back.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's what City can do in the flesh, isn't it? I mean,
mm,
they can just quickly create something out of nothing, and that's Haaland. I mean, he does. I mean, Haaland is such a weird player in so many ways because he is so ineffectual for most of the game, and then suddenly he'll get you a hat trick, get City a hat trick. I mean, he's just so when he gets a chance, he is so efficient with it, and
mm.
but
The thing I liked about that
barely
performance
does
is,
anything else for City. He's so weird that Pep accepts how little he does for the team, but then
mm,
he thinks, well, he gets me 40 goals a season, so he puts up with it. But
mm,
he definitely, I mean, I know he's never going to be a Havertz type or like a runner or a presser, but Haaland can definitely do a bit more for City. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he
Henry
had
on
as if,
Sunday
mm,
said it. He said, Henry said, why isn't he making runs? He can
mm.
definitely be making runs. He
Well,
doesn't.
he had very few touches in the
He,
first half. In
well,
fact, I think he had very few touches
Yeah,
in most of the
yeah.
games.
Sky said that after he scored, he had one touch after he scored, which is just bonkers, really, when you think about it.
What, for the entire game?
No, after he scored. So
Oh, I
after he
see. Yeah,
scored in the
yeah,
55th minute, he had one touch for the rest of the game.
yeah.
He committed more fouls in the rest of the game than touches, which is just bonkers, really. You got to speak.
Listener, we're
Yeah,
joined by a late edition to the podcast, Mr. Son Draper.
Hello, chaps. How you doing?
Yeah, not
not
too
too bad,
bad.
not too bad.
Not too bad.
We just
Yeah.
talking about the first half.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to refresh myself on exactly what happened because I kind of got blown away by the second half.
Yeah.
Was it still
I think we all did.
was it?
What's your thoughts on the Harlem goal, Tom?
Don't know how you defend it really. The guy crossed it with virtually no space at all, and then Haaland made exactly the right movement. Got in front of Saliba. He's so big, it's not nobody's gonna outmuscle that man. Like,
Yeah,
put your hands up and go like, fair enough. That's what that giant Viking weirdo does.
it was a fantastic header. It was a
Get
fantastic
back in
header.
the painting where you belong.
Is that
He doesn't.
harsh?
He looks like Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, okay? And
Vigo
I'm
the
never
No, no,
letting
carpenter.
that
no.
go. I'm never letting that go because that's literally what he looks like. Yeah, as Tom just alluded to, I think we were all quite mesmerized by the latter part of the. Well, let's be fair, most of the second half, I think, was pretty amazing. Um,
It feels to me like it feels to me like a lot of our big important goals against Man City have come with massive deflections. Like you remember
I'll take
Martinelli
that.
got one
mm,
last year, the Charity Shield as well,
Oh
the
yeah,
Community
Trossard.
Shield.
Yeah, that was a
mm.
massive deflection. We were there, weren't we? Me and Grim, we were
We
there.
were there, yeah, yeah.
Great
Very
day that
nice.
was.
Thanks to Dan and James, who are,
Yeah,
Yeah.
conspicuously absent today.
What
But
I really enjoyed about all the goals in this game is there wasn't really any kind of panic to see like, oh God, what's this going to be disallowed for?
yeah.
They're
That
all
was
they're all pretty clear cut goals,
yeah.
mm,
which was
I mean, there
nice,
was
all from
this.
open play as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was a Martinelli offside goal, but that was a clear offside.
He was
So
offside, yeah.
mm,
yeah, I mean,
Lovely finish.
Partey got the ball, he hit the shot. too often with the season, we don't shoot enough. And we
Mm.
took a shot and we got lucky with it. It wasn't a great shot, but it took the massive deflection and went in.
Mm.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
you
Was
don't
it
get
John?
deflected. You don't get deflected goals if you don't take shots.
Was it John?
Exactly.
Was it John Stones again?
Yes, it was
The
John Stones
Yeah, it
again.
was. Yeah, yeah.
The guy tries a lot of blocks, like he's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
defender,
yeah,
but
and if they come off, sometimes they
Mm.
don't. Yeah,
And
it
that's great.
was.
yeah, and
Yeah, it was really.
after we scored that second goal, we absolutely dominated them. They did nothing after that. Absolutely nothing.
Mm,
So one-sided.
mm. Well,
We defended very well.
we did, as Keith alluded to earlier, like their midfield does seem very um how do I say it?
Shit.
Their
Pa-
midfield does seem very sort of a bit
Tired.
Old,
broken. There's nothing really there, is there?
yeah.
You know.
They're entering a transitional phase, I think. I mean,
Hmm.
they've been so screwed by that Rodri injury all season.
Mm.
We are not the only team who've had injury crisis this year. They've had all kinds of problems. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about that more though. They've taken steps to
We will.
remedy it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
200 million pounds worth of steps to remedy
Well,
it, but
you've already
yeah.
got it, haven't you?
Yeah, not to diminish the Arsenal achievement at all, because unless Arsenal play at their very best, that result doesn't happen. But
mm,
this was not the best Man City side that we've played over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
mm. Yeah, I think it's also acknowledging that, some of their sort of key players are getting older. I mean, De Bruyne is, I've no idea how old that man is, but he's been
32, 33 now.
32,
33, I
33.
think.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, just shows. I mean, we're talking about squad age.
Mm,
Look at our squad for the next few years. We've got a perfect age group, really, haven't we?
Mm.
You haven't got anyone really that's pushing.
mm,
You can think of Partey,
Well, him and
but
Jorginho are going to go in the summer, aren't they?
yeah,
Presumably,
mm,
certainly Jorginho. So yeah, keeping the age
mm,
profile low is good for the future.
yeah.
mm.
This Man
I
City
mean,
side's past
how
its
old is
peak.
Raya? How old is Raya,
He's a
huh?
he's a goalkeeper. It doesn't matter. He can play until he's 40, Keith. Come
Yeah, that's true.
on.
He's 29.
He's 29. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Trossard is on the older side. I think he's 30, isn't he? Um,
You
20,
say you say
20 or
Raya's old.
30.
He's born in. He's 30. Basically, he's gonna be 30 this year.
Hmm. 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
He's 30 until he's 31.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
But
exactly.
I mean, that's
Um,
it makes you feel good about the squad. Like Tom said, age
mm.
profile. I mean, Raya can play for 4 or 5 years at the top. I mean, we've got absolutely no concerns regarding our age profile, I don't think.
Mm. Well, if we're going to talk about age profile, let's go back to what I mentioned earlier is Lewis Skelly scoring a
Making you cry.
yeah, he almost made me cry. I'm like,
I mean,
this is this at that point it's just like this is ridiculous. And we'll come on to and Wary later on as well. But oh my God. Um I don't think I've been that emotional about an Arsenal game in quite a long time. Certainly one that I've not been at,
well, City
you
have
know.
battered, City have beaten us so badly at times
Mm,
over the last 10 years, and they've obviously denied us 2 titles in a row.
mm.
So there's a lot of emotion in there. It felt I can't probably say it, but it felt,
Cathartic.
yes, there you go. It felt really good just to give them a proper thrashing. It feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they got better their taste of the medicine, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a Amy Lawrence fuck off win, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, um, and what did you guys think of the Lewis Skelly celebration?
Oh, I love
Uh,
it. I mean,
what
all
just
the
boil
media.
their piss. Like, come
Oh
on, it was
yeah,
so funny, man. It was so funny.
yeah,
They're like, what is his deal? Like, why is he doing the celebration? It's like because it's hilarious. Like, although I did like Declan Rice's sort of intervention of like, yeah, yeah, come on, man. This is funny, but get up. Like
yeah. I mean, the
Don't
Lewis
take
Skelly goal.
don't take the piss too much.
No,
Like, because
but the
that
Lewis,
shit comes back at you.
yeah.
So
I mean, it was just a great finish.
Mm,
Got the ball, and he had the bravery, the intelligence to go forward with it, move it onto his right with his weaker foot, and to
mm,
score a fantastic finish like that at 18. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, apparently, I mean, obviously I wasn't there. I heard on the TV it sounded fantastic, but people that were there saying that like the stadium really, really enjoyed that goal, like really, because obviously it's like when Jack Wilshere. I used to go to games when Jack Wilshere was started playing for us, and
super Jack.
yeah, and
Yeah.
home fans always love it when a player from the academy plays for us.
Mm.
Every team they love a homegrown player. It just feels a little bit sweeter when they score a goal. It just feels like yeah, he didn't cost us anything, and this was a great finish. How he got in, how he beat John Stones quite easily. Yeah, just yeah, amazing finish. Love the
It's
celebration. I mean, all the people complaining about it. Haaland takes the piss. I mean, he took the piss out Arsenal at the end. It's
mm.
fair. All's fair in love and war, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Is John Stones going to be the common denominator every time we discuss an Arsenal goal from this
It does
game?
feel a bit like that, actually. It does feel a bit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
scored the
What's your thoughts
equaliser
on
at
the
the
goal,
Etihad, didn't he?
Tom?
It was positionally, it was really interesting what happened there because like Rice kind of moved out to left back in that move to support. I think it was Martinelli out on the left. No, it was Trossard out on the left, wasn't it?
Mm,
Yeah.
And like Miles Skelly made the move to invert there and kind of make the run into the box that you might expect your left midfield, like Declan, your number 8, Rice, to be making.
Mm.
Because a lot of people think that Rice doesn't really get enough amongst the goals, but it just shows the tactical maturity and just excellence of this team, the adaptability that, in the heat of battle, Miles Skelly was able to kind of make that inversion, make the run, and kind of score the goal. I mean, he did come up through the ranks as a midfielder, from what I understand, not as a left back. He's done very much what Saka did, which is like
Mm.
see an opening in the team in a position that's not his, work his balls off to make it his own, and he's showing us that he's much more than just a left back. Like this guy has got an eye for goal. This guy's got the skill to take on the Man City defense and like weave away freedom and finish in a high pressure game. It's
Yeah.
really extraordinary given his age. And most of the narrative's been about the fact he sat down and like nicked Haaland's celebration, but from a footballing point of view, it's incredibly exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, if you were, if he was playing for like a Crystal Palace or something, and you wanted to sign, Arsenal wanted to sign him, how much would he cost right now? I mean, he would cost at
At
least
least,
50 million,
mm,
considering what
mm,
left backs that can invert go for these days. I
mm,
mean, City signed Cancelo a few years ago from Juventus for 60 million. And that's how, I mean, Kevin Foley cost 42 million. I
mm,
mean,
yeah,
if we were trying to sign like him from like Wolves or Palace or Brighton, if he was playing for Brighton, he'd be worth 40, 50 million easily. And we got him for free.
mm.
It's fantastic. I think his best position is in midfield, and he does want to play there eventually. So I don't know if he would be a left back all his life, but for now, I mean, he's keeping California out of the team. No doubt about
Mm.
that.
Well, to be fair, like I think Tom alluded to is, uh, Saka kind of started as a left back that gave him this ability to sort of move forward, and sort of find his position. And I think Mikel does that with players. He's like, let's start you here. Um, you're not necessarily going to be playing there the whole game.
Yeah.
You'll move forward. Like gotta say, I'm loving the guy. I think the guy's a revelation, and we'll come back to
Nothing
this.
phases
We'll come
him.
back to this in a bit, but I'm actually quite excited about the Newcastle game because I just kind of
Well, I'm
think
not.
I think we'll get something from that. But whilst we're staying on the City game,
They're both
Keith,
cool.
Keith, you mentioned earlier like Havertz had a. I mean,
He had an eventful game. Let's
listen, man,
put it like that.
the guy works really hard. Like
Yeah.
there's no denying that the guy works really hard. He does. Um, he missed a sitter in the first half. That should have been 2-0. Like, I mean, ridiculous. That should
Yes.
have been 2-0.
Well, End of
Like,
the day, he gets a goal and assist, and he after we scored the third goal from Skelly, he actually helped set up a really good chance for Martinelli by
mm,
winning a tackle in midfield, a fantastic sliding tackle.
mm,
So, I mean, you could talk for hours about Havertz. I mean, he does so many things well, and he's almost everything you want from a striker, except he's just never going to be a clinical finish. He just
mm.
isn't. And he just
Well,
maybe
then
he doesn't
surely
quite
isn't there an
meet.
argument there, Keith, that he's not a striker
Well,
then?
he's
You
in
know.
between a forward attacking midfielder and a striker.
Mm,
He's in
yeah.
between that, but he's not quite one or the other. Um,
Mm,
so I think great finish with the fourth goal. I mean, Partey,
yeah.
you had a great. I've got to say something about Partey. He had a fantastic game.
Mm,
He set up that goal by winning the ball in midfield and then getting past the City press.
mm,
I mean, yeah, great finish by Havertz, great pass by Martinelli to Havertz, and it's just a great finish.
mm.
But I mean, I mean, we know what we're going to get with Havertz, aren't we? We're going to get a lot of good things, and then occasionally the odd really bad miss and the odd really bad. What are you doing
That's
there,
a
mate?
bad miss. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was some moments when I'm just like, dude, what some the thing that's really weird about him, I feel, is that sometimes he seems a bit sort of languid.
Well,
And
yeah, that's he's always been like that, hasn't he?
yeah, and then but then, there are certain moments in the game where he'll show up and you know, and
He'll
and
flick
it
up, yeah, he does something very skillful and take the ball
yeah,
down and
like
control it and lay it off. He's like
uh
with
yeah.
ease, but yeah, it's
He
just the
kind
way
of
he
he
is.
he kind of gives me Özil vibes to be
Yeah,
honest.
I mean,
Yeah.
he has scored 15 goals this season. I mean,
Mm,
he is a top scorer. He deserves a
yeah.
lot of credit for that. I mean,
Mm,
people just go. I include myself in this. We just go remember sometimes that he's not a striker.
mm,
He's playing as a striker, but he's not really a striker. And we got to adjust our expectations sometimes with him because
mm,
he's not going to get 40 goals a season. He's going to make a lot of bad misses at times.
mm.
Just the way it is, you have to just take smooth with the rough, really, don't we?
I mean, Keith, there is also the argument of you know, who put the ball in the City net? Half our fucking team did.
Yeah,
Uh,
this
um,
is our way to talk about the fifth goal, which I really
that
want to
is
talk
our way
about.
to talk about the fifth goal because my God, I don't know if you guys have seen like footage of this. The guy's literally standing there,
Yeah,
like
I've
just
seen that. It's crazy.
hands up, just calling for the ball. He's like,
Yeah.
give it to me. I know what I'm gonna do. And then as soon as he gets it, he just does it.
I mean, he controls the
And
ball perfectly. I mean,
uh,
yeah. I think
like,
he's a star. I think he's going to be an absolute star for us. He's going to
yeah,
be like,
yeah,
he's just some players are born with natural talent and they can
mm,
do things that you can't teach. He's one of them. He can do things with the ball that you just can't teach. You either can
mm,
do it naturally or you can't. He took one touch in the second minute after he came on before he scored his goal, and he controlled and drove forward in one seamless movement. I just think he's going to be massive for us.
mm.
Good thing he's not a right winger, but I mean, he's a backup to Saka. I mean, we aren't missing Saka too much when he's there, and Mary, which
Well,
is saying a lot.
that's the thing I found quite funny about this game, and I found about a couple of games we played recently, is like when Saka got injured, we're like, oh, the whole narrative is like, oh, we're fucked.
Yeah,
Like this entire team completely hinges on the presence of that man.
yeah,
And I love Bukayo. We all do. He's amazing. Um, Somehow we've managed to find a way without him being there. I mean, don't get me wrong,
yeah.
there have been moments in certain games where it's like you try and play Sterling in his position and he can't do it because he's just too slow. Um, but you know,
I think if we had Ethan and Murray fit for the Newcastle Cup game and
mm,
the United Cup game, those games would have been different if Murray had been fit. Because he would have started, and you probably would
mm,
have done much better than Sterling in both of those games. And that's the difference in those two games. I think was
yeah,
like
you're probably
Sterling
right.
did nothing in those two games, and
Mm,
Rary would have offered much more threat from
mm,
down the right hand side. If we had Rary from the Newcastle game, I don't know. We might have still lost it, but we could have done something more than not score any goals at home to Newcastle.
mm,
And the United game again, he would have had an effect on that, even as a sub. So
mm.
going forward, I mean, obviously once Saka comes back, Saka will get back on the right hand side, of course. But I think Enweri as a number 10, as an 8 on the right hand side, so much for the rest of the season. I just can't stop raving about him. I just think he's gonna be an absolute star for us because he can
Yeah.
do it. He can. He's got that. I wouldn't say it's arrogance, but it's a bit more than confidence. He's got that. Like,
Mm,
give me the ball, I'll score. I mean, that Girona goal last week, he controlled it. He went out the box and then whipped it into that far corner. I mean, that's his trademark finish now. That's his trademark goal for us now. Is to that kind of finish. He's
mm,
17. He's already got a trademark goal for us. It's just
mm.
bonkers, really. It's just crazy to think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. I like the fact that it was like a 36 parts move that involved our entire team, pulling and pushing Manchester City all over the pitch to create that massive space for
We've all seen the
Murray to.
video, Tom. We've all seen the video.
Yeah. But there's a reason where he was able to stand there with his hands in the air calling for the ball for a while. It's because Arsenal just, they just moved Man City the whole way around the pitch. It's exactly what Man City used to do to us.
Yeah.
Mm,
They just keep the ball until we lost concentration for a second and then they kill us. And the fact that this team's capable of doing that is a wonderful thing to see. And the reason it works is because everybody buys into it. Everybody understands Mikel's
mm.
complex
Right.
instructions.
Yeah.
It's what I think it's. I didn't get to say anything about this earlier, but I think that's the reason why Havertz is so important to this team and why it's so difficult to find anyone who can fill in for him because he understands the tactical nuance and the complex instructions. Like 442 did an amazing video about I think they called the video why Arsenal humbled Manchester City or how Arsenal humbled Manchester City. And they're talking about this kind of crazy like five-piece forked press we were doing at the beginning of the game that the guy had literally never seen before. And the way it was designed, like City didn't know what was happening. It's why the defender played that hospital pass that we ended up Havertz ended up intercepted, or I think Trossard intercepted and Havertz
Mm,
made the goal. Martinelli, like the amount of work and off the ball stuff Havertz does is really, really, really unappreciated. I feel like people look at the end product to go like, oh, he's only got 15 goals, like he's not as good as Haaland. This team can't win anything. I challenge you to find another striker you could put into his position who could understand the tactical instructions and execute them so brilliantly.
Mm.
And that is what makes this team tick. It's unlike the Arsenal teams we've seen before, where, perhaps there has been a reliance on stars and like, players who can kind of do it on their own. That's not how this system, that's not how Mikel's football functions at all. I think this game was a very good example of it. Everyone said like, oh, it was a complete performance for Havertz because he did all that stuff great and he missed a sitter and he set up a goal and he scored one. It's like I will take it. My only worry is what happens when he starts running out of legs when the schedule gets. I think the schedule for us gets very busy in the middle of March when we have our next
Yeah.
Champions League games. Obviously, not being in the FA Cup anymore gives us a couple of weekends off. It's not hugely likely we're going to be in the Carabao Cup final, but if we are, it's just one more game, I suppose.
mm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if we
I mean,
somehow get to the final, I mean, the squad will get energized from that because it's a final. But
Mm.
yeah, do you think he'll pick a strong team tomorrow? I think he will.
yeah, it's a free hit, isn't it?
Yeah.
If at
Mm.
half time it's obvious it's not working. Like if we're two down at half time and it's all gone wrong, you can just start subbing people like to prevent them from getting injured. But the team's going to be on a plane to Dubai on Thursday morning.
Well,
Like
yeah, exactly. That's
nobody's
it.
got to be rested
Yeah.
for anything. There's no Poxy internationals coming up. The players need to be called away for, as far as I know. So they'll do that. They'll have a go.
That's 10 days off, haven't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's incredibly, incredibly needed, not just from a fitness point of view, but also from the point of view of like Mikel actually having some coaching time for the players, because he's been saying over and over again in his press conferences, like, I don't have time to coach my team at the moment. I have enough time for one or two training sessions between games where I'm basically seeing who's available and just keeping them running, patching them up. So like, if he's able to get a bit more like tactical invention going on in this little break, as well as keep like making keeping the chemistry high and making sure just making sure everyone's fit, feeling relaxed, feeling good, able to perform at their best. Because we didn't get any reinforcements, and but any success that's going to come out of this season is going to be down to what our current bunch can do.